With the reading of the Open Public Meeting Statement and the Pledge of Allegiance. So the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Law was enacted to ensure the right of the public to have advance notice of and to attend the meetings of public bodies, which time any business affecting their interests is discussed and acted upon. In accordance with the provisions of this Act, the Board of Education Policy 0162, the Board of Education of the Borough of Bound Brook has caused notice of this meeting to be posted in the board office and at Bound Brook High School and mailed or faxed to the Courier News, Bound Brook Borough Clerk, South Bound Brook Board of Education, and any person who has requested individual notice and paid the required fee. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Dorsey, yes, sir.
Mr. Bell.
Here.
Mr. Dawson. Here. Ms. Guzino.
Here.
Ms. Lima. Mr. Zupko.
Here.
Ms. Lucen. Mr. Minhas.
Here.
Ms. Hyde.
Here.
Mr. Bulmer. Here. And Mr. Januzzi.
Here.
Mr. Board President, you have a quorum present.
Thanks very much. For my president's comments, just again, welcome to everybody that's here in the audience. Always happy to see so many great smiling faces. And I'll just say happy holidays to everybody as we wind up the rest of the day. So Dr. Freeman, up to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good evening and welcome everyone to our December board meeting, our last of the calendar year. As always, it's great to see everyone in the audience. We're excited to recognize everyone. We have so many wonderful activities going on throughout the district, door decorating contests, parent visitation, concerts, all great things to get us into the holiday spirit, and the spirit is definitely in full effect. Before we move on to recognize everyone in person, I'd just like to take a minute to give a couple shout outs. The first is this week or last week, we recognized our educators and teachers of the year. They were selected by their colleagues to represent their schools for their outstanding contributions, and I just want to shout them out. For Lamont Annex, we have Mr. Luca and Ms. Kiss. For Lafayette, we have Ms. Deanna Nelson. For Smalley, we have Mrs. Julianne Taboni. Yes, Mr. President. I think it was recognized at the night. She might not show up when she's going to recognize me. Also, it's Educational Specialist of the Year, Jeff Jagle. At CMS, we have Ms. Sandra Pettish and Ms. Guerrero. You can clap. And PBS, we have Ms. Filiatro and Ms. Buccini, all very deserving. In addition to that, we have last night, we recognized, was it last night? Yeah, we recognized Mr. Mella Sergo for his going into his 20th year of coaching. In addition to that, he will be inducted into the New Jersey Coaches Hall of Fame on January 14th. So we want to recognize him for his accomplishments. Okay, next up, we'll get to our program. We want to recognize our students of the month. Let's have Dr. S come on up to recognize our students from the month.
Congratulations to Jason Delaquila, currently in pre-K in his illustrators class. Jason likes to work in small group with his teacher, learning about letters and numbers. His favorite hobby is watching football and playing t-ball. Jason wants to be a police officer when he grows up. The reason he was selected by Miss Ostrander is Jason is a very caring friend and a great teacher helper. He's always trying to help his peers and keep everyone on task. Jason's always making sure everyone knows the classroom routine and rules. He's always using kind words and makes his teachers smile every day. Congratulations, Jason.
you get closer to one.
He's the man.
Congratulations to Marco Saravina, currently in kindergarten, and Mrs. Gandarellis' class. Marcos enjoys math in school. He especially enjoys when we use counters. His favorite hobby is he enjoys playing football. Marco wants to be a football player when he grows up. The reason he was selected is Marco's very smart and plays nicely with his friends. Congratulations, Marco.
Okay, and next up we have Ms. Chaos from Lafayette School.
Okay, our first student of the month, Gabriel Barco from Miss Smith's class. His favorite school subject is math. Loves riding a moped and playing soccer, and he wants to be a football star. Thank you. Our next student of the month is Sophia Moran Cortez. From Miss Way in Miss Fitzgerald's class. Her favorite school subject is math as well. She likes coloring, cheerleading, and building, and she wants to be a teacher one day. Miss Way, Miss Fitzgerald. Hang on, Sophia.
And next up from Smalley School, we have Ms. Carbone.
Our first student of the month is in 3rd grade, and her name is Genesis Angelina Dominguez. She is in Miss Dushinka's and Miss Guilford's class. She has a sibling, and his name is Thiago. Her favorite school subject is coloring, and she loves most recently to sing and practice for the school concert, and she enjoyed making snowflakes.
Back up a little bit.
Our second student of the month is in Miss Diaz's class, and her name is Jessica Flores Garay. Is she here? There you are. Jessica has no siblings, and her favorite subject in school is math. Her favorite hobbies are playing outside with her friends and listening to music. And when she gets older, she wants to be a makeup artist. Our fourth student of the month is Iker Zaria. Iker, come on down. Iker has no brothers or sisters. I'm so proud of you. But his favorite subject in school is math, but he also really likes science. He says, I love collecting Pokemon cards. I enjoy hanging with my friends at Middle Earth. When he gets older, he wants to be a soccer player.
Good job.
Our fourth student of the month is in 6th grade, and her name is Natasha Miranda. Natasha is in Mr. Bayer's class. She has one older brother and also 2 younger brothers. Her favorite subject in school is science. Her favorite hobbies are hanging out at home and listening to her favorite music. And for career plans, we're still thinking about that, but we'll figure it out later.
Good job.
Next up, we have Dr. Sandy Sermon.
Hello, everyone. The community school is proud to recognize Benny Velasco Dominguez as its Student of the Month. Benny was nominated by his teacher, social studies teacher, Mr. Binder. Benny has one brother and one sister, and favorite subjects are gym and math. Benny enjoys, as a hobby, going to the gym, playing basketball, and playing video games, as a lot of my students do at middle school. And when he grows up, wants to be an NBA player. Community Middle School is also proud to recognize Naomi Castro Villalobos as Student of the Month. Naomi was nominated by Mr. Heiser and has 2 siblings. Favorite subject in school is ELA, social studies, and art. Favorite hobby is soccer and wants to be a doctor when she grows up. Congratulations.
And 1, 2, 3, smile. And more for posterity, and we're good.
And next up, we have BBHS Principal, Mr. Smith. I said, Mr. Smith.
All right, good evening. Our first Crusader Citizen of the Month is awarded to Sarah Thiessen. Sarah has 2 siblings, Alex and Jenna, both of which came through the Bound Brook schools. Her favorite subject is science. She enjoys sports and hiking as her hobbies, and after high school, she would like to attend college and become a nurse. Sarah Thiessen.
And more.
All right, next up, we have Luca Solis. Luca here. All right, Luca Luca has two siblings, Daniel and Marianne. Her favorite subject is mathematics. Luca enjoys reading, skateboarding, drawing, and writing. Career plans for Luca include college and hopefully studying some form of engineering.
One more.
All right, next up, we have Carlos Hurtado Flores. Carlos has one brother, Harold. His favorite subject in school is art. He enjoys playing volleyball and walking with his friends. Eventually, he will become a business administrator or a volleyball player. And last but certainly not least, we have Dennis Moreland. Dennis? Dennis has two brothers. His favorite subject in school is math. He enjoys weightlifting, listening to music, and watching movies. Eventually, his career plans include becoming a filmmaker.
Good job.
Now, we know that students of the month don't happen without some very dedicated, committed parents, so let's have a round of applause for the parents. Next up, I would like to call Ms. Carbone to the microphone to recognize our District Educator of the Month. Ms. Jamie Bell.
It is with, it is with great pleasure that we honor Jamie Bell as our Employee of the Month. Ms. Bell's unwavering dedication, creativity, and passion for education deeply impact our school community. Ms. Bell is more than an educator. She's a beacon of inspiration. Her classroom is a lively sanctuary where learning transcends the confines of textbooks. Through innovative teaching methods, she's transformed complex subjects into captivating journeys of discovery for her students. Her commitment to fostering critical thinking and creativity has empowered students to excel not just academically, but also personally. I had the pleasure of observing Ms. Bell this past week. She's currently teaching Percy Jackson to a combination of general ed and special education 6th grade students. Ms. Bell gives these students a great deal of confidence to answer. As they were in groups analyzing characters, she circulated and listened to what they had to say. Before sharing out about each group's character, Ms. Bell asked if they were ready to share out and gave them more time to write their answer to make sure they were prepared to read out loud. For the lower groups, Ms. Bell made sure they had something written that they could read. This developed confidence in all her students to share because she differentiated what they needed in order to share. This trait of hers about developing confidence and making people feel comfortable is her so special. Most recently, Ms. Bell attended the governor's holiday party. She was invited by her aunt to attend with the SPAN Parent Academy Network and the New Jersey Committee for School Shortage. What truly sets Ms. Bell apart is her tireless efforts beyond the classroom. Her involvement in extracurricular activities, mentoring programs, and community outreach projects showcases her dedicated to shaping well-rounded individuals. Her impact extends far beyond the walls of our school. Her colleagues admire her leadership, her friendship, and students cherish her guidance, and parents commend her unwavering support and encouragement. In fact, you can tell how much they love her by seeing how many Smalley teachers are here tonight.
Let's have a hand for her.
Some notes from Miss Bell's colleagues include, Jamie Bell is a consistent beam of light and energy in our school. She's committed to her students and her community. She's involved in after-school programs and works tirelessly to meet the needs of her students. She's kind and welcoming to her coworkers and is always there to help when she can. Personally, Jamie's been a mentor and guide from the moment I was hired at Boundbrook. She inspires students and teachers alike. Another teacher wrote, Jamie Bell is an incredible teacher. An exceptional rapport with her students. Jamie shows incredible dedication to her school in and out of the classroom and is always trying to become a better teacher for them. Those are from her colleagues. In every interaction, Ms. Bell embodies the qualities of an exceptional educator. She has empathy, resilience, innovation, and a genuine passion for nurturing young minds. It's an honor to celebrate Ms. Bell and the invaluable contributions she makes to our school.
We got a lot.
Good trying to.
We got more flowers. Congratulations.
I'm not in this one, right?
One, two, three. Good job.
Congratulations.
Okay, our last and final group, a very special group to us. They have a collective of over 60 years of time serving our students, parents, and the greater community. Who is recognized tonight, they will not be returning with us after the break. These members of our family will move on to the next phases of their life in retirement. Although we will miss them, we're very happy that they will be able to spend the majority of their time enjoying their favorite pastime. At this time, we'd like to recognize them and give them a small token of our appreciation. Two couldn't make it tonight, but as always, Ms. Dela Cruz is able to make it tonight. We would like her to come up front so we can recognize her. Mrs. Smith. As always, it's a big smile. Okay, Mr. Smith, you're on.
All right. Miss Josefina Dela Cruz was born in south of Dominican Republic on March 12th. She is the mother of 3 wonderful girls and the grandmother of 2 cute boys and 1 beautiful girl. She's married to the Dominican celebrity, Dr. Yamade Polanco, since 1983. Prior to becoming an educator, Ms. Dela Cruz was a well-known trilingual engineer speaking 3 languages, including Spanish, English, and Russian. Ms. Dela Cruz came to the Bound Brook School community 20 years ago in 2003 and has since been responsible for providing learning experiences to her students in a supportive and positive classroom climate. Ms. Dela Cruz epitomizes versatility as an educator, as she has taught regular education classes, advanced placement chemistry, special education, and bilingual classes for our English language learners. Additionally, Ms. Dela Cruz was always willing to take on the responsibility for extracurricular activities as an advisor, mentor, and an advocate of children. Whether attending prom and dancing the entire evening or chaperoning homecoming activities, she always put her students first. Her dedication and passion in making Bound Brook High School a better place has been commendable, and we would like to personally recognize her for her hard work and dedication to the craft of teaching. Thank you for being a part of the process and making the high school a positive work environment to learn and grow. We congratulate you on your retirement after a tremendous career at Bound Brook High School, and we are fortunate to call you a part of the BBHS family. Off script, Josefina, I just want to say thank you for everything you've done for us as a school community. Me personally, I feel like I'm a better person for having crossed life's path. I wish you the best in everything you do. Spend time with your wonderful husband, your beautiful grandchildren, your daughters, your son, and hopefully you'll be able to spend the time doing the things that you would like to do. So thank you, congratulations. Please don't be a stranger, and we will miss you tremendously.
Come together.
Everybody come on, please. Let's have another round. What does your shirt say? Officially retired. Thank you so much for your service. I've only been here for a year, and every time I walk into the class, it's like walking in the sunshine, seeing the kids respond to you. We will miss you, but I'm glad that you'll be able to enjoy time with your family, your grandkids, your husband. You deserve it. Also, next up, she couldn't be here with us tonight, but we have Ms. Lourdes Way from Lafayette School. If we could have Ms. Griffin come up and say a few words. She is watching online, so make sure you give the same amount of applause that you did in person.
Mr. Smith. But, so I had the pleasure of working with Lourdes Way my entire career. So, I feel honored to be able to say a little bit of something about her. Lourdes Way has been a dedicated educator for 26 years of service in the Bound Brook School District. She initially began her journey as a world language teacher at the high school, and then she taught world language at the elementary schools as well. And finally, her last part of her job was second grade teacher at Lafayette School. And finds immense joy in witnessing her students' growth and learning. She's fostered lasting connections, evidenced by former students returning to express their gratitude, by families, other staff members coming and seeing her. Her commitment to education and advocacy for students is evident through her years of service and just the relationships that she's built. Upon retirement, Lourdes plans to devote significant time to her 4 grandchildren in New Jersey and Colorado, and she anticipates another grandchild on the way. Her legacy in education and impact on students will undoubtedly continue to resonate in years to come. So thank you, Lourdes, for your time in our district, and you'll be greatly missed.
I hope you liked it. I hope you can feel all the love in the room and the applause that was given for you. I know you're a very humble person. Every time I walk in your class, you had a smile. You were so dedicated to the kids. We're going to miss you, but we're very happy that you're going to be able to enjoy time with your family. You won't have to get up early and come in. You can just enjoy life. We appreciate you, and hopefully we'll see you to give you your award and your gift over the next couple of days. Thank you. Next up, obviously he was going to be here today. I knew he wasn't going to come because he's my own. Next up is Mr. Iskra Miladov. Is Mikey here? Come on up. Mikey's going to say a few things about it.
So I just want to start off by saying I'm honored to be able to speak tonight because all 3 retirees have had an impact on me. There are my teachers, my mentors, so it means a lot to me. On behalf of Iskra, he's worked for the district for roughly 20 years. He began his career in 2004 as a technician like myself, before being promoted to the director of technology, where he's led the department since then. Our team describes him as someone who's caring, compassionate, and always concerned about making sure students and teachers have what they need to make teaching and learning the best it could be in their classroom. He has worked nights, weekends, and whatever other time needed to make sure that everything's up and running and classroom learning takes place in an efficient manner. Iskra is going to be very excited because he plans to spend the rest of his time with his grandkids that he loves very much. So I just want to say it's an honor to be able to speak tonight. And I hope all our retirees can do all the stuff that their hearts desire. So thank you very much.
Thank you. If your life is good, don't forget about it. That smiling face, sometimes it grows. That smiling face and your dedication to making sure teachers, students have what they need. We wish you the best. I know you're going to spend a lot of time with your grandkids because you have. That's all we talk about. But we appreciate you, all your years of service, and we wish you the best. One last round of applause for him. Okay, at this time, we would like to call up all the students and their parents to come to the stage to take a group picture.
On the stage. Oh, I'm doing the wrong one.
What?
Congratulations.
You were in a strong way. I'm looking back there, guys. I cannot No, but we should be closer, yeah, closer. Everybody can stand in front of us. Yes.
Yeah, we working. We're pretty good right now.
You good?
Okay.
We just need,
Need Rich to get out of the way.
Look at me. A lot of photos.
There's a lot of cameras out there.
Yes.
I don't know where to look.
Yeah.
All right. Just.
Okay, everybody, we're going to resume the meeting if that's all right. Dr. Freeman, I believe we are still in the superintendent's report.
Okay, I think that is it for today. I talked to our student rep. He said that he gave all the information last time. Is there anything you want to say, like maybe have it all there?
I mean, the Maverick wrestling team won their match about 30 minutes ago. That's it.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're up to actually item 2.4, which is a presentation by Ms. Valerie Dolan from our audit firm. So, Ms. Dolan, the floor is yours.
That's mine, Assuming this mic,
Yeah, any mic you like.
any mic.
That's not. Just press the. Yeah,
There we go. Just a piece of defense, sorry to get for the record. Once again, I would like to say thank you. It was a pleasure to do the audit. As you know, we come out and we kind of go through everything. It is a lengthy process from start to finish. But we feel that it is a partnership that we work with the business office all year long, so that when we come in to do the audit, it really is not an ad hoc kind of audit. We're coming in to work through all the things that we have. Just to give you a quick refresher for anyone, you all have your audits in front. If you have your audits, they're either electronic or if you have the actual. It's really broken into two reports. There is a large, bigger book, which is the ACFR, and that is broken up into four main sections of the report. One is a little small introductory section, tells you a little bit about the district. There's a letter to management in there. Additionally, there's a large financial section. It covers a lot of information, a lot of financial details, specifics. And then thirdly, there's a statistical section. That is the J section. That statistical section is 10 years comparative data. It gives you 10 years comparative data about Bound Brook. It gives you 10 years comparative data about actually the borough, the county. There's a lot of great information. Sometimes if you're looking for some history, each year's audit has that, a little bit of that history. And then lastly, there's a section on compliance with all of the grants and all the grant funding. Second report you received from us is a management report. That report details all of the things that we went through during our audit procedures and kind of walks you through any comments, findings, any issues we might have. We would be documenting all of those items within that document. Just to go through, while it's a lot of reporting, I always take you back to what I feel are the 13 most important pages, which is what we call audit schedule C1. It kind of, it's funny, you get all the way to the report, it doesn't actually start until probably, I think it's almost like the 90th page of the book. It almost kind of gets of the book. That audit document really is your budget. When we look at a school district, that is the primary focus. Where does your budget come and where does it take you? So it goes through all of your revenue, it shows you all the detail, it walks you through all of your expenses, all of the charges for that budget. Then at the end, you land with the picture, which is really what everybody wants to know. How did we finish our year? What I would say is that we really did finish their year financially stable. That is the best way to do it. And when we look at these numbers and we go through everything, we look at our area of when we come through and we start looking at all the accounts, did I have to make any real changes to the numbers that have been presented? You receive financials every month. We come in and look at it overall. And so when we make very little changes to those numbers, that means the district has been given reliable financial statements. The whole 12 months out of the year, all your decisions are being made off of reliable statements. Can't say that for all districts, but your district, you have all those great information. I do want to highlight a couple of financial information. You do have $2.5 million in capital reserve. That money is earmarked for future capital projects and or for things like any ROD grants, get your contribution funding, that gives you that ability. You have just a little under $1 million in a maintenance reserve. That money is there to offset and help maintain your facilities for work that's done internally. You have a small emergency reserve. That money is set aside just in case. It's about $250,000. It's the just in case reserve, emergency reserve. There is a small unemployment reserve. That's where the unemployment claim money that sits until if there are any unemployment claims. And then you also have what we call the last three pieces, which is really your unassigned fund balance. The state of New Jersey allows you to hold 2% of your expenses in a reserve. 2 previous years that we've been here that during the pandemic, they let you hold 4%. This year, they've released you back to the 2%. So now you're being held at 2%. You used about $2.4 million in the budget that you're currently operating on. And then when I look at it, I look at all of those numbers and I say, what's the piece that you're going to use to build the budget for next year? It's the most important piece. You'll be looking to use about $2.3 million. You'll have 2.3 to build, which means your budget will be stable from year to year. You landed yourself in a place where stability exists. A couple other financial highlights. We did have approximately over $10 million that went through federal, state, local grants. It's a lot of grant funding that goes through and is managed by the board office. Additionally, your food service has an increase of about $95,000. That really is between the changeover from sales back from previous last 2 years under the pandemic. It was fully funded by the federal government. Now we're seeing it circle back. There was some additional grant money that came in the area of supply chain. So that money was given to the districts to help offset some of the costs that were incurring at a higher rate to try to get that information due to supply chain issues for products. Second, now I want to look at the management report, which is really the area that I feel has been the most focused the last couple of years. Mike and the business office has done a fantastic job getting me back to a clean audit. They worked very hard and very diligently, working through and resolving all of the recommendations that have been in the report last year and the year before. So they did a fantastic job, and I do am issuing a clean audit with no recommendations, meaning no formal action on corrective needs to be taken by the board tonight. The other area that we do like to highlight is what we refer to as suggestions to management. We do school district audits, so across the board, we've seen it all. So we try to make sure that boards are aware of things that have either become problematic for other districts and or problems that we see coming into the future to give you true planning. One of those areas, as I said, you have a lot of grant money. When there's grant money, there's a trail of auditors. So there's always other auditors besides myself that might come out and look at your grant funding, especially with that large dollar sitting out there of receivables. And then the other area was we had in the area of food management companies. Food management companies are tracking and running all of your operations. What we're suggesting and recommending is that those districts really go through and make sure that the revenue, we're always good at looking at expenses and make sure they're spending our money well. We want to make sure that our districts are looking at and making sure that the revenue that they're recording is in agreement with the district records. This is not a problem in Bound. We were able to tie everything out, but it did occur in a number of districts that we struggled to get through that information. So we wanted to make sure that all of our districts were aware, and we actually talked as a firm. We're actually going to be holding a roundtable to help train the business office to look for what we're looking for, so that we can, like I said, it's a partnership, so that we can make sure that everyone's trained in addition. And I'm here if anybody has any questions.
That's great. Thank you, Ms. Dolan. And before we get to questions, I just want to give a round of applause to our business office. They really deserve it. I know we're a relatively new board, but if you go back just 2 or 3 years, there are a number of corrective actions that we were expected to take. Was not a small list. And to have that turned around within just the first year to 18 months of having Mr. Gorski and Dr. Friedman on board really speaks volumes to the work that they're doing. So again, thank you guys, you're doing a fantastic job.
Thank you. I just wanted to add to that, Mike, I know he sits up here, he's cool, calm, and collected in meetings and such, but I can tell you, he's taking work at home on the weekends, he's pulling his hair out, running down the hallway. You guys don't see it, but he's working so hard to make this a reality, and he's so relentless. I just want to let him know how much, I want everybody to know how hard he works and how much I appreciate it.
Okay, so with that, any questions for Ms. Dolan? Looks like you got off easy.
There we go. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Good evening and a happy holiday to everyone.
Thank you.
Okay. Just a point of order, do we have to move item 2.5 for approval?
Yes, sir. We have to take a vote for the board to accept the results of the audit and the management report, and also the corrective action plan indicating that there's no recommendations that's required by the county.
Thank you, Mr. Gorski. So be it resolved that the Bound Brook Board of Education, upon the recommendation of the superintendent, accepts the June 30th, 2023 annual comprehensive financial report, the auditor's management report on administrative findings, financial compliance and performance, and the corrective action plan, and authorizes the school business administrator to submit all documents to the New Jersey Department of Education and other agencies as required. Can I have a motion, please?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bala. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Zupko. Any questions? Hearing none, can we do a roll call, please?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bell.
Yes.
Mr. Dawson.
Yes.
Ms. Gazino.
Yes.
Mr. Zupko.
Yes.
Ms. Wilson. Mr. Minhas.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde.
Yes.
Ms. Fulmer. Mr.
Yes.
Mr. Fulmer.
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Januzzi.
Yes,
Motion passes, and Mr. Chair, if I just may have 60 seconds.
of course.
This is my 24th perfect audit, and there hasn't been one that I've been more proud of than Bound Brothers. This has been really satisfying. I want to thank Valerie Dolan, the auditor, for all her advice and guidance through the year. Certainly Dr. Freeman and the board. Without your support, none of this would have been possible. To all the principals, supervisors, directors, you all played an important part of the internal control process here, leading to the results tonight. And I want to especially thank Rasha Nasser for her collaboration throughout the year, emphasis on labor, and Tom DeVideo, who provided a lot of technical support with Genesis and the state program and so on. Thank you very much, and we're going to build on this and hopefully improve results next year. Thank you.
Thanks, Mike, and thanks everybody who made those contributions. All right, at this point, we are up to the committee reports. So let's start with education, Mr. Dawson.
Good evening, everybody. In our education meeting earlier this month, we spoke about an exciting new partnership that the district has been selected to participate in. I believe we are one of only 2 districts who were selected to participate in with a group called ELNIC, which I believe stands for some variation of the Early Learning Network and several other letters, which will help us really look at how to design data-driven instruction based around the needs of our kids in both math and language arts. So our work with the group will focus in kindergarten and first grade. We have a great cross-section of folks who have been selected to participate that represent a variety of classrooms and needs, including general education, inclusion settings, bilingual, academic support, ESL, reading. And this is going to be an exciting adventure for us that will allow us to connect with some experts in the field, get some really targeted professional learning going on that will help us look at assessment data, try out some new strategies, look at the data that is resulting from that instruction, and go forward. So particularly in math, we're focused on numeracy and spatial reasoning, and in reading, the transition to the science of reading, which has been a big shift in education that we spent some time talking about in our committee meetings. So we're very excited about the district's work with this group, which will ultimately involve coaching and some walkthroughs, and then looking at the results. But all of us are very excited and grateful for the staff's work, the administration's work to connect with these new resources.
That's great. Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Any questions from the members for the education committee? All right. How about governance, Mr. Bao?
Okay, so at governance, we focused again on our strategic planning scheduling. The bulk of what we talked about is actually who we want to invite personally. Obviously, we're going to advertise to everyone in the community in a broad sense through the website and hopefully social media, attacking through the PTO and having them help us get the word out. But we really brainstormed a list of people in addition to those that we want to personally invite. So in addition to the board and the staff and the parents and the students, which are the meat and potatoes of our school district, we also are talking about senior groups, church groups. We want to personally invite the council and the mayor, police and fire, recreation, alumni. So we came up with that fairly short list, but if there are more organizations that we're not thinking about that you guys have in mind, please send it my way so that we can get a comprehensive list going, because we want to get that started soon. We also talked about dates. Gwen is getting booked up really quickly and she'll be there to facilitate all these meetings. It looks like our first one is most likely gonna be February 1st. So put that in your calendar. We will probably take about 2 hours of your time that night. But more information to come for sure, but that will be blasted out in a million different ways very, very soon to everybody involved. Excuse me. The last thing that we did talk about, just in the interest of transparency, there had been a notion from some board members to maybe, because we've had so much trouble filling board seats in the past, to possibly decrease our board down to a more manageable number like 7 instead of 10. And then we learned from Mr. Gorski that it could cost tens of thousands of dollars to put that referendum on the ballot. It was, I think, 45,000. He says, I don't know, it was big. It was a big number. It was more than we want to spend. It was basically like a new teacher. So we decided we'd rather have a teacher than decrease our board. I thought you could just do it. I didn't even know it cost money to put things on the ballot, but apparently it costs a lot of money to put things on the ballot. So that was tabled. So that took up about 10 minutes of our time until Mr. Gorski was nice enough to give us that little nugget, and then we shut that down very quickly. So that was our entire meeting. Any questions for me?
The only thing that I would just add is it's not absolutely necessary for the entire board to participate in the strategic planning exercises, but as we were talking with Gwen, the committee as a whole, and Mike specifically, thought that it would be a great opportunity to have as many of us participate as we possibly can. So, that's likely to mean that we will have a quorum, so we'll have to advertise that the board will be meeting and doing that. And that's why we're gonna be a little bit less flexible with those dates as we probably would have if it was an informal type of gathering. So we're gonna try and firm those up as quickly as possible. If you have any major objections, please do let Mike know, but otherwise, let's try and be as accommodating as possible.
Okay, sorry, I'm gonna jump back in. So there will be 2 more meetings after that. Again, we do want, hopefully, all of us there. The way it kind of works is we're hoping a ton of people show up, and then Gwen randomly assigns them to tables, and one of us would be at each table to facilitate the conversation. We're not in any way leading it. We're not in any way guiding it. We're just there maybe to take notes. So the more of us that are there, the better. The other kind of ancillary benefit to that is that if more than half of us show up, we also get hours towards our next certification. So that would be 3 extra hours if we have enough people at each of those 3 meetings. So there's really 2 benefits to that.
All right, any questions for Mr. Ballin on governance?
Yeah,
Mr. Minhouse?
just putting the words in my head. So in terms of facilitating the meetings, are we looking to prepare a list of questions or to have an agenda?
No.
Of what some items to discuss,
We don't do any of that.
We don't-
Gwen takes care of everything, and she basically sends us to tables, and there are 3 meetings, and each one has a kind of a separate focus. And just as an example, one of them is you ask the community, what do you want? And we're just there to take notes, and then we hand it all into a larger Post-it note, so to speak. We put it all out there for the world to see and say, here's what our group came up with. We really are almost like note takers. We're not supposed to be any more valuable to the process than anyone else sitting at those tables, honestly.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions? All right, hearing none, we will move on to human resources. So Joanna's not here with us tonight. Sue, I know you were at the meeting and taking copious notes. I'm not gonna ask you to do the whole committee report on the fly.
Sue's face.
But if you want to jump in and add anything that I might miss, please do let me know. In the course of all of our human resources meetings, we usually do start by reviewing the register of open positions as well as potential upcoming retirements or resignations. So we did complete that activity again this time. We spent talking about the job descriptions that you see on the agenda for approval in item 7.2. We think those are actually going to be significant changes, but significantly positive changes that redirect some of the resources within the district and apply them for better effect. So we were really excited to have that conversation, to hear that development from our administrators and to see those changes happening. Those were really the top two things that I had. Sue, did you have anything you might like to add?
Obviously, no.
All right, then I guess I did a good job. Any questions on human resources from
Good job.
us? From the board? All right, we are up to operations. Mr. Zucker.
So, operations, Ms. Dolan kind of stole my thunder. Seriously, everything that she had said in relation to the numbers is what's represented in my notes here. I will go over some of them if we have a review. But Mr. Gorski, again, the board, on behalf of the board and the community, we want to thank you. And Dr. Freeman, phenomenal job. Does anyone need to rehear those numbers? Thank you. So, as a result, I yield my time back, Mr. President.
Thanks. And then the only other operational item I would like to highlight, you've probably heard it about 100 times by this point, but the Lafayette cafeteria has been officially opened. Dr. Freeman's weekend report was probably one of the highlights for me, just hearing how excited the students were when it was finally announced. So I'm sure that's a big relief to our friends at Lafayette School. And, for those of us who have kids in the school, we were actually able to go and see the winter concert with the big windows in the backdrop.
So
And it just-
pretty.
it was
So pretty, with the windows in the back.
So just happy to report that that's now operational.
Is this supposed to be a ribbon cutting ceremony or?
We were gonna do something, and we may still do something, but we thought that it was more important to get the kids in and using the facility and give the administration the relief of having the extra wing in the building and not forego that. So it's possible, but we did deprioritize that. Any questions for Roger or really any of us on operations?
Another question. The moisture, the dampness in the basement, what is this? What's the progress or?
Mr. Gorski, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, sir. It was brought to our attention that the new basement walls had an inordinate amount of seepage coming through, being groundwater from the outside. And especially after this last heavy rain, Dr. Freeman Roberto and I went down into the basement and all of the floor walls were wet and actually bleeding water through. It was collecting on the floor. There, certainly not an expert on this, but there appears to be an issue with either the pitch outside of the stool brick where it meets the asphalt itself, because it may not have been tamped enough and it may be too porous, or the sealant that was put on the outside of the block could be failing, and that's more probable of an explanation because it's so widespread. We met the contractors at the school this morning. They were ripping up the expansion joints in the sidewalk and putting in waterproof caulk. They were caulking along the edge of the brick where it meets the pavement. They also used a driveway sealer and put it over the asphalt, and they were gonna do another coat tomorrow. And they also put a sealant on the of the blocks. So we are gonna monitor this, and we recommended to Dr. Freeman to bring in a independent third-party consultant to review the outcome here to make sure that it's satisfactory and the board and the taxpayers are getting what they paid for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gorski. Any other questions on operations? All right, hearing none, we're up to you, Ms. Guzino, on athletics and co-curricular.
Okay, so we had a really great meeting. I want to thank Jeff Steele for coming in and having just a whole lot of feedback for us, a lot of notes, a lot of insights from his team. We did talk through, coming out of our fall season, moving into our winter season. He's been meeting with all of our winter coaches, getting goals from them on what they'd like to see out of this coming winter season, which I think is amazing. Also some highlights, we talked about, wish lists that those coaches have of things throughout the buildings that we could improve on, things in the gym, in the wrestling rooms, locker rooms, things like floor, paint, ceiling upgrades. So from my understanding, Mr. Steele and Mr. Gorski will be walking the facilities, reviewing some of those wish list items, and then bring those back to the board so we can see what we can do to make improvements there. He also brought up, we had discussed our tennis team coming out of the fall season. Because our tennis program does consider their home field over at Colonial, we discussed the idea of maybe having a fan van or a fan bus where we could get students that want to come and cheer those students on for tennis. And maybe we could arrange for some kind of a commuter bus that would help take students over to Colonial Park to cheer on those tennis players because they are so far off site, which I think is a great idea. We also talked through our partnership with ASG in football, so that's an ongoing conversation that Coach Lapoidovin and the ASG team leadership and Jeff Steele are having. So, continued progress on that. We also discussed some hiring and some new positions that he might like to see within the athletic department. So more to come on that. We also discussed the idea of having a doctor coming in to perform athletic physicals for students that kind of don't have the resources to go out to a physician. Maybe they don't have a major practitioner. So if we can offer that service, I think we're finding in a lot of the athletics that would be a big service to our student athletes to do that. So we discussed, how we can move that forward a little bit. And then last but not least, we brought up school branding. I mean, personally, I'm a huge advocate for the Bound brand, keeping it consistent. We've got a lot of history here in the district, so I'd love to continue that conversation of how we keep the consistency around who we are as a Crusader, what that looks like, using our double B, keeping colors, fonts, things like, so that we don't see as much variation amongst all the breadth of our athletic programs. So more to come on that too.
That sounds like a very busy meeting.
It was quite long.
Nice job, Lisa. Any comments on extracurricular?
Yeah, just a comment. I actually met with Coach Lepp the other night, that you set up, having nothing to do with being a board member. But I mentioned to him kind of offhand about the branding, and he was in love with the idea as well.
Yeah.
So being a coach of two different sports, he sees the variation as well. So you're not alone in thinking that's a good idea, that we should have an identity.
I can share a little bit of an insight. This is like kind of new information coming in, but I also had the chance to meet the leaders at ASG, and right now they're marketing that program as a straight up ASG program, and we discussed that program needs to transition to a Bound Brook program. So me knowing what I know, we're gonna convert logos, design, helmets, uniforms to be Bound Brook football and not ASG football. So.
I'm going to add to just seeing that you put so much work into the logos and everything that came out here. And they just look sharp. They look so nice. And just, again, having that across all the schools just to be the same is a real plus. You did a nice job. Thank you so much.
All right, any other comments or questions for extracurriculars? All right, Sue, anything for SCESC?
Yes, we met on December 6th, and there was a presentation for the SLA, Student Learning Achievements. And, the Somerset County Ed is students who come from many different schools, and many of the students there were below grade level. Some of it was with COVID, and some was just where they were in their district, and then just functioning where they are, and just working with the teachers and the staff, etc. The superintendent's report, he said that he went down to NJSBA the workshop in Atlantic City, and, was just networking with other districts and consortiums. They did hire a new cosmetology program instructor. They've really been trying to do that. It was something that was high interest, and now they have that, and they're starting to kick off that program. They're also meeting with architects for the career centers for supermarket and culinary learning. They're still, they had sold off the majority of the buses, and their transportation now is basically dealing with special ed and routing for districts, but not getting the buses there. And they have 350 routes that they manage now. They're still in negotiations with their teachers. They did have their annual Thanksgiving dinner, which is the staff and students all together celebrating Thanksgiving. But there were some new hires, 3 new teachers and 3 new support staff. They went over policy and regulations, and it just was revisions, proposals, and just abolishing old policy. And the MOA with Bridgewater Township Law Enforcement, which you have to do every year. And that is it.
Another pretty full meeting. Thank you for the updates. Any questions for Sue on the SCESC meeting? All right. Before we wrap, any other comments or questions on committees in general? Hearing none. Thank you, everybody, for the reports. Again, another full set. I know that the committees are actually where we spend the majority of our time in terms of understanding the issues and deliberating on what actions need to be taken when we get to the table for these business meetings. So thanks, everybody, again, for both participating and for my committee chairs for the leadership. You guys are doing a great job, and it shows in the work. So nicely done. At this point, we're up to item number 5.1, which is open to the public for agenda items only. Please note that in accordance with district policy 0167, members of the public must sign in at the podium or online, providing name, address, and group affiliation, if applicable. The public participation is limited to 3 to 5 minutes in duration, and no participant may speak more than once on the same topic until all others who wish to speak on that topic have been heard. Anybody in the room? No. How about online?
Agenda.
Thank you. I actually remember this.
That's good.
None on the agenda online.
Very good. So we are up to item number 6.1, approval of the meeting minutes. Be it resolved that the Brattleboro Board of Education, upon recommendation of the superintendent, approve the minutes for the following meetings: regular and executive session in November 29th, 2023. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bowles. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Hodge. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Certainly, Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Dawson,
Yes.
Ms. Casino,
Yes.
Mr. Zupko. Abstain. So voted. Mr. Minhas.
Yes.
Ms. High,
Yes.
Mr. Volmer,
Yes.
and Mr. Januzi.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Up to item 7.1, be it resolved that the superintendent recommends for approval the resolutions as outlined in district personnel resolutions. This is 7.2 through 7.31. May I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bowles. Second? Second. Thank you, Mr. Zupko. Any discussion? All right, hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Dawson,
Yes.
Yes.
Mr. Zupko.
Yes.
Mr. Minhas,
Yes.
Ms. High,
Yes.
Mr. Volmer,
Yes.
and Mr. Januzi.
Yes.
Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you. Item 8.1, resolved that the Brattleboro Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in district education resolutions. This is 8.2 through 8.16. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Bowles. Second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Any discussion? so I'm gonna group tonight. How about a roll call, please?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
Ms. Gazino?
Yes.
Mr. Zupko?
Yes.
Mr. Minhas?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Mr. Ballmer? Yes. And Mr. Januzzi?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item number 9.1, be it resolved that the Bound Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in board action resolutions. This is 9.2 through 9.16. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard, second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Zupko. Any discussion?
Just want to thank everybody, for all the organizations and individuals for all the donations that they've given to us, especially around this time of year. Thank you very much.
Well said, sir. I have a question actually on number 9.2. Is that only restricted to students or are members of the general public able to buy it as well? You'll get there, don't worry.
Oh, yes.
Students only, right?
Yes,
I just wanted to make sure. It's a great idea. I hope you guys have a lot of fun with that at school.
The pie in the face?
Yes.
Oh, we were going to do pie a board member, but we weren't sure.
Yeah, next time.
You know, funny, in my school, we do pie a teacher as well, and somehow I've won twice. However, both times we've done it, I've been pied. It's
Phenomenal, I love it.
something.
Any other comments or questions on anything in section 9? All right, hearing none, can we have a roll call, please?
Mr. Bell?
Yes.
Mr. Dawson?
Yes.
Ms. Gazino?
Yes.
Mr. Zupko?
Yes.
Mr. Minhas?
Yes.
Ms. Hyde?
Yes.
Mr. Ballmer?
Yes.
And Mr. Januzzi passes.
Thank you. We are now to other matters to come before the board. Hearing none, is there any new business from any of the board members?
I'd like to propose something new to add to the agenda if this is the right time and place for it.
Kenner?
So I've been really intrigued with the data collection that we've been doing as a district, but yet I don't really understand it enough to really, I feel like I could use some education on it. I'm wondering if there's a way we can include, we do committee meetings. Is there a way we can include an update on data or just a quick learning? It doesn't have to be a full-blown presentation. Maybe it's just a couple of slides, but just something we could do every month to just pick a topic, pick something, how we're using it. I think it's a huge factor in the district that honestly I would just like to dig in and know a little bit more about it as a board member.
First, can I just point out that Mr. Ross is glowing right now. Very excited. We don't mean your full-blown 2-hour, we just need a couple slides. The Ross experience, we just need a little bit.
Just a little something that can
I apologize, Mrs. Young. I actually did mention that in our meeting, governance meeting, and I completely forgot to put it in my notes, so.
No, that's
I did bring
okay.
that up with Dr. Freeman already for you, I apologize.
Perfect. I just think, I don't know who else on the board
Yeah.
would feel that's helpful, but for me, it would be really, really helpful.
Yeah, and I think having data being a part of our goals for the last 2 years, you're not really far off base. We all agree with you. The two things that I would point out, and then I'll defer to Dr. Freeman because I know he wants to get a word in as well. The first one is I would suggest attending an education committee meeting to start. I'm pretty sure from the ones that I've been to, and I think I've been to most of them over the last 6 months, the discussion about data is prevalent in everything that's presented to us. So definitely, if you can make it to the next education committee meeting, do that. The other note is actually for you. When we go back to Gwen and come through with a list of training that we might think about taking up this year, we'll put that on the agenda as well. It won't be as specific to the district, but it'll be more, building that level of awareness not only of what data is available, but then how it's generally used. And so Dr. Freeman, at this point, I'll yield to you.
Yes, we can definitely do something like that. I think what Mr. President said was pretty accurate if you come to the education committee. But beside that, we can do some other informal training, and we just arrange a time to kind of make it, to break it down into easily digestible pieces where you could understand it. So when we get to the point where we're talking about these large reports, you would be able to break it down yourself. But that's a very valid point, and we'll make it happen.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for that, Mrs. Gonzino. Any other new business from the members? All right, we are now open to the public for discussion. This is open to the public, all items. I will refrain from rereading the passage, but the same notes apply here. The expectation is that people will sign in, state their name, address, and group affiliation, speak for 3 to 5 minutes, and we will make sure that everybody has a chance to be heard before we hear from the same people on the same issues. Anything from the room? Awesome. Anything?
Nothing online.
Thank you, sir. With that, we are up to item number 13, which is to move to go into executive session. Be it resolved that the Bound Brook Board of Education enter executive session as allowed by NJSA 10:4-11 under 147?
It's always 147. Yes.
147. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. A second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Val. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm ready if you're ready.
Everybody ready? Yes.
Yes.
All right, here we go. You did. Well, at least the one's written on the outside. Welcome back, everybody. We're up to item 14.1. Resolved that the Bound Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in the HIB cases under high school. This is 14.2 and 14.3. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard, second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Dawson. Roll call, please.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Dawson,
Yes.
Ms. Casino,
Yes.
Mr. Zupko,
Yes.
Mr. Minhas,
Yes.
Ms. Hyde,
Yes.
Mr. Ballmer,
Yes.
and Mr. Janussi.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 15.1, be it resolved that the Bound Board of Education approves the resolutions as outlined in HIB cases under middle and elementary schools. This is 15.2 and 15.3. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard, second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Minhas. Roll call.
Mr. Bell,
Yes.
Mr. Dawson,
Yes.
Ms. Casino,
Yes.
Mr. Zupko.
Yes.
Mr. Minhas.
Yes.
Ms. Hyde,
Yes.
Mr. Ballmer.
Yes.
Mr. Janussi.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 16.1, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Ballard, second.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Zupko. All in favor?
Aye. Yes. Happy holidays.